without further ado, I'll pass on the mic to them. MDA team, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our session regarding Defender for Cloud Apps, and more specifically related to app governance. My name is Rozalia Jarnea, and I am a product manager in the XDR team, and I will be joined by two of my colleagues, Dan and Greg. If you guys want to say a few words, please.
Hey, everyone. I'm Dan Istrate. I'm also a product manager within the security customer experience team, alongside with Rozalia and Greg. And we are happy to have you all here discussing today about the app governance feature on the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps.
Hello, everyone. I'm from Customer Experience Engineering team, Greg Wiselka. I'll be answering your questions in the chat window here.
Thank you so much, guys. Just so that we can go through our agenda for today, we're going to do a quick overview of Defender for Cloud Apps, as well as continuous threat protection in Microsoft Defender for XDR. We're going to continue with app-to-app protection in identity governance, and also we're going to see exactly how this looks in a demo session. At the end, if we have time, we're going to go through a Q&A session, but also don't forget to place your questions in the chat. We'll take them one by one. If we don't have time, we're going to take them offline. And also, when you will receive the presentation, you'll be able to see at the end of the deck, we're going to give you all the necessary materials that you will need to get started with app governance. So if we can start, let's first start with SaaS security at Microsoft, and what does that mean, basically? Last year, as I think you've seen, we've announced that we are shifting from a CASB to a more holistic SaaS security offering. What does that mean is that that makes Defender for Cloud Apps a SaaS security solution in the inclusion of also a couple of pillars that we have here in front of us and we will touch upon today. But we are still staying true to our roots, so to say, of a CASB, and also continue to invest in all of these capabilities. Starting off at the top, we have the discovery part. This doesn't change. This is still the discovery part is still critical to get idea of the applications that are being used in your environment. Regarding sanctioning and unsanctioning apps, this is really important so that you can sift out which applications are approved for corporate use. You can see in the middle the sanctioned apps, which include also a combination of apps that can use app connectors, and the ones also from discovery. These apps are at the center of our protection layer. Moving to SaaS Security Posture Management, or SSPM for short, this surfaces the misconfigurations in apps. It provides you with recommendation actions from an admin point of view, so that what actions you can take in order to strengthen your posture. Everything starts with prevention, and the stronger the app posture, the less likely it is susceptible to any type of an attack. From there, after you connect your application using our API connectors, you'll gain a view into the files that are being stored into those apps. It's really important also to have a way of classifying, of labeling, and also implementing policies to ensure that there is no type of wiggle room for data leakage. In Defender for as Defender for Cloud Apps is part of the XDR suite, it will help you take advantage of advanced hunting capabilities across apps, identities, endpoints, and even email. Finally, we have the app-to-app protection using app governance, our focus for today. This pillar is specifically it provides features for OAuth apps. another breadth of apps that can often be, let's say, sort of like a backdoor for any type of bad actor. When you're thinking about the ways that a user can interact with the app, the same principle applies to how apps can interact with one another, with similar use cases across posture, data loss prevention, and also even threat protection. Just to put everything in a broader context so that we have a bigger picture, let's so to say, Microsoft Defender XDR delivers unified investigation and also a response experience. All this to provide native protection across, once again, your endpoints, your hybrid identities, email, any type of collaboration tools that you might use, cloud applications, data, everything with centralized visibility. You have powerful analytics, and let's not forget automatic attack disruption. With Defender XDR, your organization can gain practically a broader set of protection, including email security, and also you can identify and access management as in order to so as to have, let's say, a critical prevention solution. You can benefit from auto healing capabilities for common issues, and also scale the SOC teams with XDR automated disruption, so that you can, everything that you do here is to protect against ransomware and other type of advanced attacks in a more effective way, so that you can also ensure business continuity in your organization. If we can, we're now going to look at the next piece of how Defender for Cloud Apps delivers a threat protection for your cloud environment. And let's say that we need to keep in mind that uncoordinated threat signals across multiple platforms can sometimes create risky environments for your organization. The integrated threat protection in Defender for Cloud Apps, this will help you, this will enable you to detect advanced attackers and also native cloud threats. All of this by detecting any type of anomalous behavior and any type of malicious activity in your environment. And what is the challenge of securing your environment? Everyone is fighting this complex and challenging environment with all the tools that you might have. We see that bad actors are using increasingly creative and type of sophisticated attacks with the practically the digital estate that's growing also exponentially. Especially right now that we're in remote environments, these type of attacks, we've seen that they can grow exponentially. Now, depending on your scenario, depending on your environment, the product also needs to be designed in order to combat against modern threats. Using Defender for Cloud Apps and Microsoft Defender XDR, we kind of cover the three or four important pillars: the prevention part, the detection part, also investigation, and also response. Concerning prevention, we can practice SSPM to identify and remediate any type of misconfigurations that might already exist. With detection, we have built-in anomaly detections. Let's say like impossible travel or any type of suspicious activities from unknown IPs. Regarding investigations, we can go ahead and look at activity logs so that we can assess the data. We can see where the attack originated. We can have a broader picture, and we can understand the scope of the breach. And also, in regards to response, we can take action in response to detection, such as suspend any type of user action, or maybe even mark it as compromised, depending on the scenario. Regarding the behaviors, data may be related to security scenarios, but not necessarily a sign of malicious activity or a security incident. Here we have the abstractions beyond abstractions beyond the raw data level provides practically a deeper understanding of events related to any type of MITRE attacks, categories and technologies. Based on one or more, let's say, raw events, we can take everything and provide a more contextual insight into what occurred at a specific point in time regarding a specific attack. I don't want to spend too much time, for instance, regarding this, but you will also be able to see in our when we will receive the deck. Here we also have an example of a business email compromise attack chain, and also a link to one of our blog posts that describes the different steps and also highlight the detection from each step regarding this matter. And we're just gonna move a bit to talk about. Let's start at the beginning. We can set the stage for why threat protection matters. Here are some of the ways that alerts and also the mitigation actions will help you improve security for your cloud environment. On the one hand, we have the identification of high risk and anomalous usage. Here we can have visibility. We can ensure visibility to any anomalous activities where a high risk app or session has been identified. Also, very important, we have exfiltration of data to unsanctioned apps. Here we need to be alerted when your users, you need to be alerted when your users attempt to exfiltrate data to applications that have been unsanctioned in your environment. There are also indicators of compromise. You need to easily identify suspicious behavior that practically do not fall within normal patterns of activity, such as activity from an infrequent country, for instance, or a suspicious email address. There is also something to take into consideration regarding rogue third-party application alerts. You need and mitigation of ransomware attacks. Any application being accessed in your environment which falls into the parameters that Microsoft has determined as rogue or malicious, you will receive an alert regarding this behavior. Now, moving on, shifting our focus to the right-hand side, here we have the enhanced threat protections for your SaaS apps. And here, just to name a few, we have the advanced hunting across all of your security workloads with XDR. With it, we can combat against threats by using SaaS signals in combination with data across endpoints, identities, even email, so that we can provide an integrated protection against sophisticated attacks. We have the custom detection builds. With it, we can easily transform hunting queries into our own custom detections so that we can stay alerted on future suspicious activities. We also have the built-in threat protection policies. We have more than 20 out-of-the-box policies, and this number is growing. Policies alert you on some of the most common cloud threats, such as impossible travel, again, impersonation activities, or even ransomware detection. And also the prioritization of investigation of alerts. Here you have an overview of users who likely pose the greatest risk, risky users to the organization, and you also have and are recommended for immediate review with everything. You will be able to see that also in the demo session with a unified view of identity threat across even both on-premise and cloud. Now, taking all that into consideration, let's talk a bit about app governance, the new capability within Defender for Cloud Apps. As I'm sure that most probably everyone here, you already know and maybe have experienced. We've seen that customers have accelerated your cloud adoption. This means that you've accumulated more apps to take advantage of all the capabilities within that all these cloud apps offer, basically. But also with the proliferation of apps, we also have to take risk into consideration. We need to understand and we need to be able to answer certain type of questions like, do we know what our apps are doing when practically you're not paying, we're not looking, when we're not paying attention? Apps don't always behave as we think, and sometimes even trusted applications can be compromised or even change their behavior. We need to have more information about how exactly many applications are deployed in your environment. Do we even know what the app actually does with the data, what the users or other application does with the data once it is deployed? Do we even know if the apps that are deployed are even being used by our users? There must be a process and a sort of oversight just to verify that apps continue to behave in the way that they were intended. The way that they were intended when they were first introduced into your environment. And also something that we need to see, we need to take into consideration once again that app-based attacks have a significant impact on your environment, and we've seen a rise of them. We've seen an increase in these type of attacks in recent years, especially as it relates to app compromise and also phishing. As mentioned here, in 2019, we saw that app identities were compromised due to unsuspecting user errors. This can happen. This unknowingly granted wide-ranging and inappropriate access. In 2020, we've seen that trusted apps with broad adoptions were targeted by certain bad actors. When this occurs with, let's say, for instance, an overprivileged app, the attacker can gain inappropriate access to your sensitive information, to your sensitive data, to services. And this attack targeted around 25% of S500 companies. Also, 2 years ago, in January 2022, an attacker used OAuth consent phishing to gain access to an application that practically allowed them to exfiltrate data. This incident was detected by app governance threat detection, and these apps were quickly shut down by Microsoft. And also, just to have more, a few more details around app governance, and we're gonna quickly switch to the demo session. What is it exactly? It's app governance is built in the Compliance Center. It will help you provide. It will provide you practically with the familiar look and feel that that you're already comfortable with. It is a fully cloud managed. And also, it does not require any type of installation or any type of configuration from your part. It doesn't require any additional servers or maybe any hardware components. This approach practically minimizes the onboarding process. The dashboard that we're going to see in the demo provides you with a quick, let's say, at a glance view of the most important signals and alerts that you need to clearly assess. You're going to see if anything poses any type of risk, if anything is detected in your environment. It also provides you with insights at a platform level, and those will be only available directly through the Graph API, so that you have a full view of how the apps that are deployed in your environment are configured, and if they're behaving, and how are they behaving with the data, and how users are managing also. In addition to this, you will be able to see app details that are grouped so that you can just streamline audits and investigations, so that the most important app signals like app configuration, what type of data does it access, user interaction, even the permissions, this is everything is really easy for you to view, and you can have a clear report on each app and what it does, who accesses it, and so on. Another critical aspect to protecting from app risks is to govern the behavior of said applications. We will be able to see that with app governance, you will have practically the ability to configure certain types of policies. These policies will define the acceptable app behaviors so that you will be able to meet security and compliance mandates for data access. Just like we can see in, this is just a little example. To get you started quickly, app governance provides a few out-of-the-box policy templates that you can use to create your own policy afterwards. Templates including typically high-risk app behaviors such as unused apps, as mentioned before, abnormal data access activity, and many other, just to name a few. Once again, you have more than 20 behavior activity indicators. These are called app predicates. They will be able to give you the ability to quickly create or even customize policies to meet your specific needs, either maybe long-term or even short-term, long-term regarding, let's say, a long-ranging app governance framework, or maybe even if you need something on the spot, something to address an immediate need in your organization. Okay. Regarding the comprehensive detection and remediation side of app governance, inappropriate app behavior can range from any type of security incidents that can that are identified as bad, but also need to be addressed immediately, so that activities that fall within a tolerance level that requires additional review needs to be assessed in order to assess malicious intent practically of that. So, and app governance will be able to help you get the entire range, a broad range of detection capabilities. And again, as mentioned, we have deep analytics with machine learning, policy-based alerts, so that you can quickly bring to the surface your findings and see how you can take immediate action. Also, we need to take into consideration high priority events. That so these can represent high risks that can be configured so that, for instance, it can automatically trigger the revocation of an app via the integration with Azure AD or even Defender for Cloud Apps. Also, during the investigation process, this also can result in in identifying if, for instance, an app is at risk or inappropriate for the environment, and this can trigger the manual revocation of the app if need be. Now, I think so. For the in the interest of time, I think we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dan for our remote session, exactly how app governance works.
All right, I'll just turn my camera off just to make sure that everything runs smooth. We should be fine.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you so much. So logging into the security.microsoft.com portal, this is the home screen. you'll find the app governance feature under the cloud apps. Let's quickly jump into that. Just a quick disclaimer, this is a demo environment that does not contain a lot of data, is not well hydrated. We do have Exchange integration, so we're not going to see a lot of data, a lot of information. Whenever you will go to the app governance within your environment, surely you'll find more information and more data. All right. So the app governance feature. We have a lot of information in here. Let's start with the overview. So first of all, it will detect a number of applications that we found in our environment, the overprivileged apps, the highly privileged apps, and we get a full list if we switch to more details. You'll see that you'll notice that we've switched to Azure AD. So here it will detect all the applications, Microsoft and non-Microsoft applications integrated with Azure AD. We have a lot of information from them for them, starting with the application status, the Graph API access, and the permissions type and consent type. Those are really important whenever you consider an application in here using the app governance feature, so that you have enough information to understand what the application requires from permissions, consent. If we have a publisher, it's really important. And obviously the dates when was added on and last modified. Going back to the overview, we have the latest incidents blade where we can find what happened. I will leave that a bit later and we'll go through an incident and see how that looks, what information do we get. We have the predefined policies that we can check. Basically, you can create two types of policies: regulate app use and secure app permissions. We have multiple templates that you can use for this policy enforcement, depending on the need of your environment and of your organization. You can choose one of the templates that you can see onto the right, or you can simply build a custom policy on your own. Let's say test policy. We will choose the severity. Let's take medium severity and scope. Apply default settings. Now I'll customize the policy because we've chosen the policy to be fully custom. Let's target all apps. We can also add exceptions, as you can see. You could see earlier. Specific conditions. I would like the application to have a certification, a Microsoft 365 certified app would be great. Let's see what are the actions that this policy will take. Let's disable the app. And I will, although it's a demo tenant, I don't want to break things in this demo, so I will keep the policy off. Just a quick review of the settings that I've made, and I've just created one of the policy, a custom policy, as I didn't fit the ones that. All right, the demo tenant then does not allow us to do that today. The same goes with securing the app permissions. Obviously, the templates are present in here as well, based on permissions, usage, again, certification activity, and you can build another custom set of attributes that you can choose, rules that you can choose to modify for your own policies. Going back to the overview. The incidents report, let's say a summary of the report. A very important piece of information that sadly I don't have to show you in here, it's the sensitive data accessed. We do display in here all the sensitive data that has been accessed by the application, starting from SharePoint, OneDrive for Business, this kind of information based on specific tags that you set for as the sensitivity labels, to be more precise, that you are using. The information will be displayed in here. It's a really nice feature of the app governance. We also display the data usage, so you can have an overview of the data that has been used in your environment, and you can go for more and more details. As you can see, and I was saying at the beginning, we only have Exchange right now, but it's important to understand and to know that you'll have everything in here from a data usage perspective. You have the app categories where you can obviously see the high privileged, the overprivileged, the unverified, and a few more. Really important for you to have a better overview of what's happening within your environment and what actions you need to take as an admin to reduce the privileges or adjust them, adjust the permissions so that it will fit your security needs. Going to the Azure AD side, I think we've covered that. So the information about the application itself. Let's go through the alerts and to the incidents. Here we have all the incidents based on severity, and we do have some information. But whenever you'll try to access it, it will switch to the alerts and incidents blade. This is why I've chosen to show you this at the end. Now we'll just need to wait for a bit to load the information. And now on the incident side, you have all the information that you need to assess properly the incident that has been raised within your app governance feature. Basically, this is a medium severity, so it's not that bad. We can see the first activity when this arised, I'm sorry, and the last time when the activity has been registered for this application. It's categorized as suspicious activity. It's unassigned right now. Obviously, it's a new incident, and it's not yet classified. We can also see the alerts that raised the attack, the incident itself. And let's expand this. We can see that we have increase in data usage by the overly privileged or highly privileged application. Now, let's see. I don't think we have anything in here, so we should switch in here. This is an OAuth app. The entity is Graph Explorer, and it's suspicious right now, and it was seen. We do have a summary that will help you with the same information, but obviously in a, let's say, more fashionable manner. And based on that, you can remediate the incident. Also, managing the incident from here, really simple. You can adjust the severity to low, have an incident tag, we don't have this one. Let's select an existing, let's say this is for Defender experts. You can assign it to a specific user if you want, active, and you can classify it from here. Let's say security testing, because this is just a test. And we'll save it. It's still unassigned, but at least the issue has been, let's say, investigated. It's not yet resolved. This needs to be handled. It still needs to be handled, but due to the fact that it's only a test and we don't have enough data, sadly, and I'm really sorry for that, we can't see more than that. It's a pretty easy to use feature, as you could see. Basically, this was a big picture, an overview of the feature itself. So I think that's it from my end for now. We can switch to the Q&A session, and if we have any questions into the chat that haven't been answered, we can give it a try.
Thank you, Dan and Rozalia. If you don't mind just looking at the upcoming questions under the new, as you mentioned, there's some related to the topic, and some are very broadly. So perhaps maybe the team that we have here can pick the ones that can answer, and we can always answer the ones that we can today to an appendix slide that will be providing the deck later. So let's just take here a moment and review everything under new, if you don't mind, please, and then let us know the ones that you would like to tackle them today.
Okay, if I can start with one, if that's okay with everyone. I see one of the questions that you're asking about, for instance, if app governance isn't turned on in your environment, what are the risks with what are the risks that that might be involved? If you do choose to turn off app governance in your environment, it can come with a few risks depending on the current state of your environment, of your apps, of any type of permissions that that you might have in place. For instance, you can some possible risks can be you may block or restrict some apps that are not compliant, or that you might find out that they are malicious. So also you may discover that some apps that have excessive or inappropriate permissions to access your data or users or any type of other apps. This can expose your organization to data breaches. If you may need to revoke or maybe modify those permissions. You can also encounter that some apps might have anomalous or suspicious behavior. Maybe they're accessing data that they shouldn't be, or they're being accessed at maybe unusual times or maybe locations. This may indicate that the apps are compromised and exploited by any type of bad actor, and you may need to take remediation actions such as any type of blocking or quarantining. If it's okay, well, we can go ahead and answer it in a broader, give it a broader response in the chat. But again, if you can block or restrict some apps that are not compliant, but for instance, this can cause in some type of disruption or maybe even frustration from the parts of some users that might need to request access again or gain approval again of the apps itself. Again, we can follow up with a broader response and also hand out the documentation with these steps if it's okay. Anyone else want to take another question?
There is 2 new questions just published I would like to answer. The first one, how does app shutdown works if malicious apps is identified? So I would imagine you're asking here as an example we're sharing around applications and app governance. So there is an option to for the policy to disable an app based on, so once the policy is triggered, you can automatically disable an app, but it's not something that we recommend to do straight away. We would like you to first try the policy and verify if it's actually targeting correct applications. So this way you can basically verify if that's actually works well for your environment. So this is to avoid or limit the number of false positives here. And there is another question around where can I find list of MDA released features and which is in public preview and what's available in 6 months. So we do publish our roadmap which is usually when we do this for the broader public, we create similar webinars like today, and we'll be posting new webinars and roadmap at some point, within next month or so. But basically, we've got also targeted roadmaps for under MDA, and also we have published a preview and new features that we just released. So what's new in MDA? Now I'm just gonna find the link and share it with you in a minute, Anurag. Hopefully that answers your question. The app governance, next question, the app governance currently isn't turned on in our environment. Are there any risks with affecting any users by just turning it on and then reviewing all the settings and configuration later? So once you enable app governance, there is no risk on starting disabling, applications or affecting your users. And quite often when we enable this on our customers' environments, it's basically an eye opener for the customers. So how many applications or insights they can receive straight away thanks to out-of-the-box app governance policies that would be enabled then. But obviously, none of those policies will block users. So you will receive new alerts, you will receive new information about application or activities. So all the apps that are connected to your tenant, OAuth apps, you will get new activity information. And basically, you can see only benefits here. I don't see how we could negatively impact your users at that point until you start, potentially enabling an option to disable application, and that could be so basically it's recommended as well to, verify with your app team and whoever registered the application, verify if the application was properly or if it was maliciously registered. So it's basically, doing extra diligence to make sure that you are not disabling the application that should be running, and that could impact your users.
Well, thank you, Greg and Rozalia. Do we have more questions that we'll be able to help today with? If you don't mind just taking another look under new. I see there's few coming. There was one under the licensing, whether I think somebody already answered. Oh, I see that Greg already answered if the feature is included in E5. So we wanted to see what feature. Yeah, we were mainly talking about here the app governance. So that is included with the E5 security licensing.
I will take another one. Does the MDA has the functionality to see the endpoint logs like user is using which application? MDA doesn't see the endpoint logs. It only sees the application logs. So you'll see anything related to the app itself, including the sign-ins, so including the Azure AD part, but not the endpoint.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep, no worries. Happy to answer questions. Let's see. Another question is how we can scope the policy to a group of users. Basically, this feature and the policies that you create within the feature will target application. So you can only scope the policies towards applications.
Yeah, that's something that's been requested by a couple of customers I'm working with, and we have put this as part of our feature or design request, and it's on our backlog. And as soon as we start working on this or have like estimated date when we could potentially support it, we'll announce it as well during the official roadmap sessions. So it's something that we are aware of, and that's the limitation that we're trying to overcome as soon as possible. But there is no commitment how soon we'll be able to target it. I think I've seen another question here. It was just published. So can we also get the information about the credentials leakage around MDA? So basically, we've got functionality that's called app hygiene policies that are part of app governance. And thanks to them, you can verify which credentials, if there are any applications that have unused credentials or expiring credentials, and then you can get notified. You can select those applications thanks to those policies. But as far as leak credential is concerned, I think there is a functionality in AAD to look for leaked credentials. I'm just not 100% sure. Not sure if anyone else is aware of this feature. Just checking out. Hopefully that answer your question to some extent. The other questions that we might have in the background submitted.
And while Greg is checking on that, I posted a link to our private community program. So just wanted to let you know for deeper conversations and how you can influence our product designs, as well as getting early access to changes through private previews and learning about the product roadmaps. You can join our private preview community on the link that I just shared.
There is an interesting question that just published now. The question is, what is the reason moving from CASB to SaaS? So I would imagine you're referring to slide. I think Rozalia had a quick overview, a conversation around this, where we're switching to this. It's basically to follow the industry, shift and the Gartner shift as well. And it's basically, it's not about, just discovering applications, which CASB was really focusing on, but actually looking into what those applications are doing after they've been approved in your environment, and really looking into those activities that are after the application have been discovered or allowed in your environment. So here you've got really good use case of app governance, and I think that's we covered this in this session. So yeah, this is basically to provide more insights and not just approving or sanctioning or unsanctioning applications, but actually verifying that they've got right use cases after they've been approved. Sometimes it could be malicious applications potentially approved, so we want to make sure that we can monitor and we can secure those applications throughout their lifetime. Okay, hopefully that answers all your question. We're looking to publish some more questions here.
There is another question. Does app governance work on on-premises apps with application proxy? Yes, it does. All the applications integrated with Azure AD, including the ones that are through app proxy, will be displayed in the app governance feature.
There seems to be a theme of questions around the licensing. So if any of you know, it would be great to share.
Yeah, so I think there is I can see a couple of questions, and we had like separate webinars when we just announced that app governance was part of MDA. In the past, you would have separate license for app governance. So we announced like a couple of months ago that app governance is part of MDA. So you don't need any additional licensing to start using and enjoying the benefits and security behind that app governance provides. So that's totally included as part of MDA. So if you're already using MDA, you're free to enable app governance without any additional licensing requirements there. So hopefully that answers your question, and we will point you to the original webinar that we announced it on a couple of months ago. So we can just post this in the as a follow-up, provide you a link to if you would like to catch up and get some more details around this.
Thank you, Greg. I see the last webinar, at least we did with us, was back in May, and it's actually about app governance inclusion in Defender for Cloud Apps. Is this the webinar you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll share that link right now. Okay, well, we're 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Any other questions you would like to answer before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll take one more at least.
Okay.
There was a question related to Sentinel integration. Due to the fact that we use the incidents and alerts section in the security portal, we do have full integration with Sentinel when it comes to incidents and alerts from the app governance feature.
Okay, well, thank you, Dan, Greg, as well as Rozalia for being our guests and for sharing this great information with our public community. Um, uh, and to all the listeners out there on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desires to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community, because we believe that together we can make a global impact. So please join us at aka.ms security community. This is also where you'll be notified about the upcoming webinars such as this one, as well as other security events and other announcements. Also, please take a minute submitting your feedback at aka.ms/security webinar feedback. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered, or other product-related questions related to the Microsoft Defender for cloud apps, I think I have shared that link when we just opened the call. Let me just take a quick peek on that one so I can reshare it again. Yep, Q&A overflow. So that is the MDA community in tech community. So let me do that right now. So thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. And we hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.